Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the WunTv. I am the host, April Bassette, America's favorite life coach, and you have tuned in to Get Your Life with April Bassette, America's favorite life coach. I am the owner and founder of You Thrive Coaching. Yes, You Thrive Coaching. And again, I want to welcome you to the WunTv. Today is part 2 of our talk about love. And so we're going to do a basic review of the last episode, and then we're going to hop into some new stuff, okay? So I know that everyone knows everything there is to know about love. I know you guys know it all. But sometimes when we fall off of the love boat, it's hard trying to find your way back. And so what my goal is to help you find your way through and to remind you of the fundamentals, the basics on how to just get back to that space to where you can even wrap your head around love after it has beat you up and, spit you out and kicked you around. Like, how do we even get back to that space where you're just like, you know what I'm saying? Like where you're wanting to let it in and not Kung Fu Panda it away. You know what I'm saying? And so let's hop right into this thing. So like I said, last episode, we talked about receiving love when you have difficulty loving yourself. And so we went over some brief ideologies that most of us have about love. And we also talked about not being able to love yourself, not being able to love people more than you love yourself. You can only love someone to the extent that you love yourself. Hey, Noelle, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. So you can only love yourself to the extent that you love someone else. And so most people feel, because I even had that thought, that maybe you should just stop dealing with new people until you freaking are in a better space with loving yourself. And I am here to tell you that is false. It's not true, okay? What you want to do is keep experiencing and keep inviting people, because what happens is, like we said before, is that we are teachers and we are students. We switch these roles. And so when you open yourself to the experience of other people loving you, they in turn can teach you, to get you back on the track to loving self. And this does promote confidence and self-worth in you. Okay? And so we also learned how to take the thoughts that we had about ourselves, these not so loving thoughts, and we learned how to reframe them, okay? And so that's like putting a thought and changing outfits, putting it in a different outfit, you know what I'm saying? And so what happens with reframing is that it's still your truth, okay? It's still your truth. It's just not as critical. It's not as harmful to self, okay? So really remember that reframing definitely rewires and reprograms the brain. That is so vital, right? Because we know that your thoughts create your reality. So whatever you're thinking is your point of perception, and that is what you're going to create. So we want to have better thoughts about ourselves. We just want to have better thoughts, period, okay? So the next thing that we talked about was a difficult one, was letting love in after you have been hurt. And here we discuss that it is a basic human need or desire to avoid pain. It's also a survival mechanism. Okay, and that is okay. That's perfectly fine. But with everything we do, we have learned that we need to have a balance. So if we spend time avoiding anything that potentially looks like love, that's totally unbalanced. You know what I'm saying? Because just because it has the potential to turn around, you'll never know unless you get out there and freaking try to have a different experience, try to create a new or a different reality, right? So if we stop experiencing things because of the potential for pain, you're not even sure if it's going to bring you pain. You just think it's a potential. You don't evolve. You're at a standstill. You know what I'm saying? How we learn, how we grow, how we evolve is through problems, challenges, and experiences, right? So we can't avoid experiences because then we don't evolve, okay? So at that point, I gave you guys some techniques just about asking yourself questions, trying to figure out where this pain came from the first time you experienced it or remembered it, and really drilling in because people don't, like I said, we try to avoid pain. So people don't want to dig down in there and pull out those guts of the issue, because you don't want to experience the pain of the process of pulling them out. But at the same time, this pain hinders you. It hinders your whole perception of life. It hinders your experiences. So take that space for yourself and speak your truth. Be honest. Do not judge wherever your pain came from. Don't judge it. We are just curious. We're curious and we're trying to get to the heart of it and the resolve so that we can move on in a healthy way, okay? So the third thing that we talked about last show was saying I love you. Saying I love you after you have been hurt. And we talked at that point about the different kinds of love, like the love between a mother and a child, and then the love between that mother and her best friend, or the brotherly love that you have for another human being just because they're human, and the love between your fur baby or, you know, whatever animal that you're in love with. Like, there's different types of love, but love nonetheless, okay? So now we're gonna branch off into the blocks. You know what I'm saying? What blocks us. And so those blocks tend to follow a pattern with most of us humans, right? And this pattern is called adult attachments. This is a real thing. It's a real thing. Google it. It's real. Okay? And so these attachments, there are 4 different styles. Okay? So we have the secure attachment. We have the dismissive attachment. That was me. That was me. That was me. That was me. And preoccupied and the fearful attachment. So let's keep in mind that no single attachment is you at all times. One day you could be totally secure in love, and then the next day you could be fearful. But we do gravitate. Hey, Medina! We do gravitate towards one particular style, right? And so let's go through them. So the secure attachment is what we're all striving to be and to, you know, get some balance in our life. The secure attachment, for them, is natural and it's easy to say I love you. They can communicate their upsets directly. They are very cooperative and flexible. They distribute cooperative and flexible behaviors in love. They are very comfortable with intimacy, and they're also comfortable with being alone. Okay? And dismissive, dun, 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 that was me. This attachment, saying I love you, feels like a chore. It feels like an obligation, okay? I'm very self-reliant. I didn't want to depend on people, and I didn't want them to depend on me. I was very uncomfortable around people who were very emotional, or people that appeared to be needy. I felt like people should be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and I definitely did downplay the importance of relationships. And hi, Maya. Hi, Eric. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. So that's dismissive. And then third is the preoccupied attachment. Now, this attachment, saying I love you, feels vulnerable. This is the attachment that is worried about what people think. Okay? They expect to be rejected. They expect to be abandoned by people they love. They struggle communicating their needs directly. These are the people that act out when they're triggered. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, your loved one just pissed you off, so now I'm about to go make you jealous. That's the preoccupied. And then the fourth one is fearful. This attachment feels like saying I love you is a huge risk. It's a risk, and it's because it's a fear of rejection. They don't believe that they're worth loving. They want to be loved, but they have deep fears about it not happening. They feel like they can't count on anyone, including themselves. This is just not something they put on other people. They put it on themselves too. And so, like I said, we all fall into one of those. We kind of all gravitate towards one of those. And as I said over and over again, my attachment style was dismissive. So what I had to come to realize, Miss Independent, was that me saying I love you doesn't make me responsible for you. And there's no obligation behind that. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Sometimes I had this strange notion that if I somehow let someone in like that to the status of loving, then I'm putting my life in their hands. And Miss Self-Reliant can't be doing that, And so with these patterns, I just want to remind you guys that you can reframe everything, dude. Like, reprogramming your brain is just that easy. Like I said, we have to remember the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are your thought processes. Yes, they are. So you just reframe it where it's still your truth, but it's less critical. And in that process, you are opening up your perceptions. And when you open up your perceptions, you open up your options. Hey, Eric, all we need is love. Yes, we are wired for this ish. Okay. And so as I started that, because everything that I tell you guys to do, honey, I have been the test dummy for it. Okay. I've done it. So I know that we get freaking results. And as a life coach, honey, let me tell you, I life coach myself every moment, every second, every hour. Okay. So I can tell you that this ish works. And it's so simple. As humans, we can make things hard. We've been programmed to think that hard work gets you all these wonderful results, and nothing is that hard. We make all this shit hard, seriously. So once I did start to reframe my thoughts about love, it did open my perceptions. And I'm telling you guys, I really am so fortunate because I do see love everywhere, in everything. And it's such a beautiful way to be. And it's so beautiful that I can't even imagine that I was living life like that, to be serious. And let me pull myself together. Sorry, guys. But that's how special and beautiful this stuff is. I mean, that's how special and beautiful love is. You are wired for it. That's how you survive. It is everything. Okay. So Let me pull myself together. Sorry about that. Okay. So, having said all of that, I find that most of our issues with love and other people are because we are different. And so what we have to start wrapping our mind around are the differences. Like, of course, if you could take a magic wand and change the things about your loved ones that you might find a little annoying or that you don't like, if you changed all those things, what would happen? They would like be a walking clone of you, right? Which is nothing different. And so as I've stressed before, we are spirits having a human experience. So this is like our freaking playground, yo. And so how do you learn? How do you evolve if everything is the same? If there's a bunch of yous walking around, there would be small growth and steps, but this is actually how we learn. And so accepting differences opens up your perceptions. And that is crucial because, as I said before, when your perceptions are opened or widened, you have more options available to you because now you can see past a point you can see past the limited perceptions that you had. You know what I'm saying? And so with differences, we learn more problem-solving skills by the way certain people have solved their problems. And guess what else? Most people don't like for their own value systems or belief systems to be questioned or challenged. But that's how you know if they still apply to you. A belief changes all the time. And with your belief, so that your values also change. So if you are working with or being loved by or encountering someone different, and like I said, curiosity, not judgment. Their curiosity evokes questions that you need to answer. And through answering those questions, you start to figure out that, whoa, maybe I don't believe that anymore. And you wouldn't know that if you weren't challenged. Me and this phone, boy, I'm trying to tell you, people act like they don't know I'm doing something, okay. So we were talking about accepting differences. And so there are 3 ways that we should be coaching ourselves through accepting people's differences, because this is so important, right? And so one of the ways is being able to tolerate the differences, right? And then we go from tolerating them to appreciating them. And then after you appreciate them, you encourage them, right? So tolerance is just needed to handle all those little annoying quirks, that people have. Number 1, we want to keep in mind that the most simple saying is that we want to treat others how the freak we want to be treated, right? So you don't want nobody trying to, change who you are or hinder you as a human being because there's something about you, a little quirk about you that they don't like. So don't do that to somebody else. Don't hinder somebody else's individuality, And two, they're small things. But then you're like, what if they're big things? Okay. So like an example of that would be, say your loved one likes to indulge in alcohol. Okay. You can't stand alcohol. You think that when people are drinking, they act like idiots. Okay. So you can't stand it. You are bored. And then, I don't know, your mother died of alcohol abuse. So you really are feeling some type of way about this loved one when they're drinking, right? And your reasons are totally understandable. But if you deal with it from a place of love and tolerance, right? We have an arrayment of options available to how this situation could turn out. So one, you could talk to your loved one, and maybe you guys could sit down and try to help create a balance for the both of you guys so that it works for both of you. And that process, that could cause some major healing for you. And then who knows, your loved one might not have been aware that their use was so unbalanced. You know what I'm saying? And then it could surprise you that a human being could make such drastic changes that quick once they're aware that something needs to be changed. You know, there's an arraignment of possibilities that could come about from that. But when you're intolerant, what does that do? That puts that person's defense up, they put the armor up, and then that could make them angry. You know what I'm saying? And then that could cause a split. Or, like most of us humans, we're rebellious. So it could actually cause them to drink even more. And so the second step of accepting these differences is to set the stage for just appreciation, right? And how we do this is we just appreciate this person for being different because of what we're gonna learn. And then we also acknowledge the fact that whether or not we agree with their lives or their lifestyles, honey, they have survived this long with their processes, And then sometimes look at the person that's different too, like I said, because we're all good at something. And so they could totally have a trait that is maybe totally different from yours. And through taking that journey of tolerance with them and accepting their differences, you are an observer of this trait. So you can definitely perfect it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're the observer. So you can take their trait, perfect it, and make it your own, and maybe even share it with other people, right? So appreciation just lets your loved one know that you love them despite of your differences, right? And you respect them for just simply being who they are. And so when you do that, this creates confidence in both people, because when you feel free to be yourself around your loved ones, you are then more confident, right? And so with this confidence, you guys are spreading lovings to each other. You're more confident. You're loving this person for loving you, and so it's just great for all those involved, right? So the third step is encouragement. And so I'm going to give you guys a real quick example. So an example is, say you love to watch movies, right? But your partner loves to read. And you think that reading is like uberly freaking boring. It's boring as hell. You don't understand it. But your partner loves it. They feel like they can read and they can make it their own. They can use their imagination to create their own little reality in their head versus a movie is somebody else's manifestation, so they love reading, right? So they come home and they tell you like, I just joined a book club. So you are like, oh my God, okay. So you're encouraging. So, you let them do their babble thing. And then you start asking questions, right? And in the midst of asking questions, to keep them talking because they're enjoying it, something triggers in your mind like, hold on, like, let me really ask these questions, because how do a bunch of people get together and just be bored? So then you start to ask questions because you're really intrigued behind you're intrigued behind the excitement of this boring activity, right? So then once you ask them all these questions, not only do they feel good, because they know that you think that shit is boring as hell, and you just let them babble and they feel free to be themselves. Not only do they feel good, but then your perception just widen, right? Because you didn't understand how anybody could find excitement in something so boring. So you just learned something, right? So that also just encouraging, like I said, just opens that door for the love-ins, and people are more comfortable. And then so what happens is you create a new pattern of appreciation of all these things, because now this person is looking for a way to appease you, with something you love, and they're excited because, you care about their well-being, you care about their happiness. And so it just goes back and forth. And the bigger this whole love bubble gets, so it's a beautiful thing. Okay. So, what time is it? Okay. So real fast, the last thing that I want to leave you guys with, I think this is important, is just some 5 simple steps of just being able to take love in. Okay, just 5 simple steps. And the first step is, let me tell you what those steps are first. Okay, so it's noticing the love, preparing for it, then receiving it, acknowledging it, and then accepting it, right? So with the first step, like I said, because we've fallen off the love boat and it's kicked our ass. So we have been like trying to Kung Fu Panda anything that even looks like it's disguised as love. Okay. So in doing that, you've created a habit to where you've simply just stopped even noticing when somebody's trying to give you love. Right. And so now what we're trying to do is reverse that. So pay attention to your loved ones and your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? So like, it could be simple things. Somebody holding the door, somebody freaking smiling from across the room, somebody inviting you somewhere, somebody giving you a loan that you needed, or somebody helping you out and you didn't even ask for the help. Just simple things like that. Okay, and so the step 2 is preparing to take love in. And so what can happen is, like I said, we built the habit that we're no longer interested in love, so we're not noticing it. And so when you did notice it, you started to deflect, right? And so how did you deflect? Some people literally run. Or some people all of a sudden have 1,000 things to do. Okay, some people change the subject. Some people start arguments, blah, 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 blah. But as I said, we're preparing. So now at this point, my favorite word, guys, reframe. We're going to reframe all those freaking thoughts that we have. And you're going to focus on yourself. And you're going to give yourself the permission to feel this wonderful, beautiful feeling about love. And you tell yourself, I am lovable, I am loved, and I am ready to take this ish in. Okay? And then step 3 is receiving the lovings. Okay? So you got to receive it. So take a deep breath, relax in it, enjoy it, savor the moment. Don't think about, last time I felt like this happened. I got stabbed in the chest. Ugh. Or what might happen tomorrow. This person could totally not. Nah. Enjoy the moment. Savor it in. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Okay? And just stay in the moment. That's a lot of our problems too, especially with me. Sometimes I get so preoccupied in my thoughts and everything that I'm not enjoying the moment. We have to enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. Okay, so step 4 is acknowledging that there is some lovins going on. Okay, so acknowledging it validates it for the brain, right? And so that's really simple. You just simply tell yourself that, this person is showing me lovins. I'm getting lovins. It's just as simple. And then the person that's giving you lovin's, you tell them how grateful you are for the lovin's, right? Dun, dun, dun. And so, like I said, yeah, so you let your loved one know that you're grateful. And then the fifth and final step is accepting the love. Just accept it. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to your thoughts. Accepting it is like the afterglow. You know, like after an orgasm. You lay there, you marinate, you enjoy it, you lay in the bliss of it. You know, so it's the same thing with accepting love. You love it, you lay there. I mean, you lay there. Wherever you're at the moment, you stay stationary and enjoy it. Pay attention to your thoughts and what's going on. If they're negative or critical, we reframe them, make them to where they're still your truth, but it's less critical. It almost feels better to think about these thoughts than it doesn't make you feel worse. It makes you feel better. That's where we're at. And that's the end of this. I want to thank you guys for watching this show. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to let you guys know that you are appreciated. And tune in to the WunTv. We have so many great shows. We have so many great people a part of this network. And there's so much information to learn from all of these different types of shows and all of these different types of personalities. Okay? I love you guys. Have a great week. Be miraculous and stop thinking about BS. Okay? It's a lot of fear going on with the masses right now. And I'm telling you guys, do not participate. Do not participate in the fear. Do not do it. Kill it, counteract it, Kung Fu Panda it with some lovin's. Some lovin's. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Okay? Bye.